Hello there guys, and you guys already know from the title what I'm reviewing, so let's just get right into it. The Safari Ltd Megalodon. This is a interesting figure. I'm gonna start off with my main complaint about it. The fact of just how it looks. This looks like a great white shark to me. It really truly does. There is no way to differentiate this from a great white and a megalodon. I think mostly because of the color scheme. I personally believe that if you are going to make a thing that's basically just a sized up version of its counterparts, like a Titanoboa or a Megalania or a Dinosuchus, you need to make it so that the color scheme looks somewhat different so you can identify it. Even just like two dark stripes running down the back or something like that. Something so that this doesn't look like the modern animal. Now, of course, we now know that Megalodon wasn't as closely related to great whites as we thought, so there's greater issue for making it look different as well, but they didn't notice at the time, so they went with the great white shark thing. That's a shame. I really wish that they did something with the color scheme, because this can 100% pass as a great white shark. I'm using this as a great white shark because it looks so similar to a great white shark. Just wanted to say that real quick. The next thing I'm going to say is the pose is actually quite nice. Has this very nice arc in it, the fins bending this way as the shark is clearly turning in this direction. I think the pose is really, really good on this figure. I really, really like the pose. No complaints about that. But now I'm done with those two things, we're going to start the tail and move up. So first off with the tail, we can see that it does look really nice. The groove from the muscle going in there is there, which is nice to see. It has all these rips and tears in the fin, which looks really good, as well as it has this nice wash that goes over most of the ends of the animals. They're on the other side as well, if you were wondering. Then we get these two fins right here. They look very, very nice. We have, of course, these two big fins, not painted on the inside, painted here. Mostly they have this nice wash put on right here. The fin is nice again with the wash on it. The fins kind of have this same pattern of the wash, though they kind of have them a little differently on some of them, which is a very, very nice touch. Where the gray connects to the white is in this very nice raggedy pattern. Looks very, very realistic. The gill slits are all good. Really, behind the head, I don't really have any complaints about this figure. It's rather lacking in the detail department, which I think is sort of fine and sort of not fine, because you can add detail to aquatic animals. You just have to put like scars and like these ragtag things. Like, this looks good. Put that on a lot more of the shark than just the tail and the dorsal fin, and I think that would have looked great. Have it have some scars every now and then, because many sharks do have scars on them. I think that would have looked better. But other than that, the body, there's nothing really to complain about. The gills look really, really nice, very well sculpted. However, once we get to the head region, this is where I start to dislike the figure a little bit. Now, the eye does have this lovely gloss on it to give it that nice wet look, of course. The whole figure isn't all that shiny. It does have some shine to it, but not a ton of shine. It definitely, I don't think, stands out. It doesn't distract me. It's not as good as the shine on some Papo figures, personally. It's just shining because of the light and the fact that it's really, really smooth. But we see that this nice ragtag pattern going on here just ends. Like, it's just a straight line right here, which I think is really, really disappointing, because that's not what it looks like on a real animal. It's on both sides too. It's not just on one side, which I don't like that. I think that they should have made this nice and ragtagged as well. The nostrils do look nice. And then we get to the mouth. Now the mouth does have this nice extrusion point, like a shark mouth should when it's opened, but the inside of it is just, it's not that good. It is wide and does go back a little ways, which is important because, I mean, if you're going to have a shark with its mouth open, you're going to need to make it so people can stick things in there, which is very, very important. Like, you know, stick your finger in it, or stick a tylosaur fin in it, or a whale fin, or something like that. That's very important. You can do that. However, I don't know if you can see super well, but on the roof of the mouth has all these, like, I don't know if they're scrapes, but like scrapes, and it also has some gray that's clearly paint smudges. I have no idea how that got there. It's there on the bottom of the mouth as well. Don't know if I'll be able to demonstrate that. You can kind of see that there. Which really is, you can see the roof of the mouth really good there. And that really just doesn't look very good. It looks weird. But granted, you're not looking to the mouth all the time. My next big complaint, however, is the teeth. The teeth are far too big. If this is supposed to be a megalodon, you know, the teeth were big, but they weren't this big. These are too massive teeth. It needs to have smaller teeth and a lot more of them than what it possesses. And of course they're not sharp, which of course is good for kids playing. And then the other complaint is the teeth. First off, I don't think there's enough rows of teeth. I think that in between the rows, like in between that back row and this middle row, and in between the front row and that row, there should be another set of rows of teeth. Because sharks have quite a few rows of teeth, as well as they're just not painted all that well. From the front, they look sort of fine, but the ones in the back, like, have barely any paint on them at all. And the back of many of the ones in the front are just pink. They are just pink, utterly pink. That is rather disappointing, if I'm being honest. The teeth are kind of a letdown, which is a shame because that's kind of like the signature of a shark. But yeah, so the head region is sort of disappointing, lacks detail, but that's sort of ish okay. Rest of the figure looks really, really good. Doesn't have any shading. I think ultimately you could have added a lot more to the paint scheme than just have this matte gray, matte white wash around the fins. I think you could have had maybe, I don't know, some shading and that kind of stuff in there. I think you could have added a little bit more to it, as well as maybe made the skin texture a little bit more rough instead of perfectly smooth, and adding some scars every now and then. But other than that, I think it's fine. It's just the mouth that really personally bugs me. So now for my overall score, I'm going to give this 2013 Megalodon by Safari Ltd hold on. Terribly sorry about that. I simply forgot to do size comparisons. And of course, measure this guy. So where did my ruler go? There's my ruler. Hold on a second. This guy is approximately 7 inches long. Wow, 7 inches long exact. Which of course translates to about just over 17.5 centimeters long, and then to the height, he is roughly 2.5 inches tall, which correlates to about 6 centimeters tall. That's about his height range. Size comparisons, we have of course our standard figure, the Safari Ltd Velociraptor, which, you know, size is pretty good as far as like they're the same size. Next up we have the Safari Ltd Tylosaurus for 2017, and I think that this is a fairly-ish good size comparison between these two animals. Tylosaurus, I'm pretty sure, is about 50 feet long. So this would maybe, it's a little shorter than it, so this would maybe be like a subadult megalodon. So, you know, almost full size but not quite there. I think that would personally work. So the Tylosaurus is bigger than the megalodon. I don't know if you can tell that on the camera. Let me maybe put him in front. There we go. You can kind of more so see he has about that much on the megalodon. And then of course the figure that we reviewed last time, the Safari Giganotosaurus, which towers over this poor little sharky dude. For my overall score for this figure, I don't know. Just the paint scheme, it's nice. It's nothing incredible though. It's just your average shark. The teeth, the mouth region isn't all that good. The pose is nice. I wish that there maybe were some scarring and that kind of stuff on it. I don't know. I mean, objectively, there's nothing too much wrong with this figure. But personally, I'm going to give this thing a 5 out of 10. I think that it's a pretty mediocre figure. I don't even think, from what, I don't own any of other Safari sharks, but from what I've seen of some of their new ones, sharks that they have, I don't even think this is the best among their sharks. I think of their sharks, they have much better sharks than this too. But I can't say that for sure because I don't own any. Yeah, I just would personally classify this as a pretty mediocre figure. I think that it's, you know, if you see it in a store and you want to buy it or you're going to use it in a series, great. Buy it. It's not terrible. But I don't think it's the best figure you could ever buy. But that's just my personal opinion on it. How do you guys feel about this figure? Do you feel I'm wrong? Do you think that this thing is amazing, the best figure of all time? Or do you think that this thing is so incredibly bad? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section down below, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.